You think you know what you have until the moment you're holding air. She told me my greatest flaw was that I had no ambition in this world except for one thing, staying right by her side. And she said it like it was a sickness. Like the love I offered was a symptom of a small life. She wanted fire, conquest, a man building empires out in the world. She didn't understand, the empire I was building was us. The fortress was our home. Every quiet dinner, every lazy Sunday, every time I remembered how she took her coffee, that was my masterpiece. But to her, it was a blank canvas. A life of quiet was a life of waste. So I changed. Not for her, not anymore, but because her words, once they settled in, festered. That venomous idea, that I was aimless, that my love was just contentment in disguise, it began to eat at the foundation of everything I thought we were. The ambition she craved? It woke up. But it didn't look like she expected. It was cold. It was quiet. It was a relentless engine that started turning in the silence she created. I stopped talking about my dreams for us and started building dreams for me. I arrived early, left late. The gym, the courses, the side hustle that became a business. My phone, once always open to her messages, was now filled with spreadsheets, timelines, networks. And she noticed. Oh, she noticed. At first, it was a relief to her. See, her smile seemed to say, I fixed him. I sparked the ambition. She'd ask about my day with a new interest, but the stories were now about mergers and markets, not about the new bakery we should try. The light in her eyes would flicker, just for a second, when she realized the stories no longer included her as the central character. I was no longer the man who planned his weekends around her mood. I was a man with a schedule, with goals that existed outside the walls of our apartment. The very distance she'd accused me of not having. I was now cultivating it with a scholar's focus. The fights changed. They were no longer about me being too present, too much. They were about me being absent. You're not here anymore, she'd say, standing in the kitchen we'd painted together. And I'd look up from my laptop, truly look at her, and feel a profound, chilling calm. I'm here, I'd say. I'm just not only here anymore. You wanted ambition. You're looking at it. The silence that followed those words was the loudest sound I've ever heard. It was the sound of her realizing her wish had been granted by a malicious genie. The end wasn't a drama. It was an administrative task. I had outgrown the life she'd defined for me. The love, that all-consuming force that she'd labeled as my lack of ambition, had been redirected. It was now poured into concrete things, a bank account, a business plan, my own sense of self-worth that was no longer a mirror reflecting only her. The day I left, it was a Tuesday. Nothing special. The boxes were by the door. She stood there, her face pale, finally understanding the currency of loss. She said, "This isn't what I wanted." And for the first time, I believed her. She'd wanted a more ambitious partner, but she'd never wanted to lose her sanctuary. She'd wanted the trophy, but not the factory where it was made. I looked at her, this woman who had been my entire world, and felt a distant, aching pity. "You told me my only ambition was staying with you," I said, my voice eerily quiet. "You were right. It was. And you broke it. So you got what you asked for. You got a man with ambition." And his first ambitious act was to walk away from the one thing holding him back. I closed the door. Not with a slam, but with a soft, definitive click. A seal. In the elevator down, there was no thunderous emotion, no dramatic ache. There was space. Vast, echoing, terrifying, glorious space. And in that space, my new ambition breathed. She lost me forever, not to another woman, not to a grand catastrophe, but to the very thing she demanded I find. She mistook devotion for emptiness, and she poured her dissatisfaction into that emptiness until it filled, not with what she wanted, but with something solid, separate, and self-sufficient. Months later, a mutual friend told me she'd said, "I created a monster." The friend expected me to be hurt. I wasn't. Because a monster isn't made from peace. A monster is forged in the gap between what you are and what someone you love tells you you must become. I am not a monster. I am a monument. A monument to the cost of misunderstanding a quiet love. She is haunted now, not by a ghost, but by a living, breathing proof of her own mistake. She is living in the echo of that click of the door. And I am living in the wide, open, ambitious silence that came after.